So we're gonna go to like the controversial slash, mental health prevention
Mm.
category. So first question, why did you never go on PDs?
I actually did a video on this on my YouTube. You might have watched that, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you can answer pretty short, and I'll pop the video in, if people want to see your,
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, obviously health implications. There's so many. Like, all it's going to do is gain me more muscle, and in terms of the pros, I'll gain more muscle and be a bit stronger. That to me does not outweigh the cons of potentially, like, ultimately dying.
yeah,
Like there isn't a safe way to do it.
no,
You can be a little bit more sensible, if that's even the right terminology to use.
yeah, that is,
You're
yeah.
not safe. You're not safe. So does would I like a bit more muscle? Yes. Do I want it bad enough to put my health at risk? No. That's as simple as it gets for me.
So what
Um,
difference between you and the people that do take it, despite like, I think either they're lying to themselves about the consequences, or they just watch people that, like you said, are like very resistant to the drugs, and so yeah, for them it works for 20 years, but for like one out of like, you know, 10 people that work, like for nine out of 10, it's not gonna work. So
mm,
I think, why most people don't have the approach that you have and that I have, and that you see the health complications. It's as simple as that, and you just don't go
mm,
for it. I think either people are like misinformed about the real consequences, they're very
mm,
badly influenced by the social media, or they're very deeply sad about themselves, and like there is something very deep, and they fall
mm.
into the drugs.
Yeah, I think for people that take PEDs, the vast majority take it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
There's only a small percentage of people that take them for I'm not even going to say the right reason, but the necessary reasons.
Mm.
If you want to be Mr. Olympia, you're not going to do that taking creatine. Like, you're going to have to dabble in some PEDs, obviously. But, you know, for me, someone that I would be accepting of the rationale behind going on it, I'd say that they've been training for like a decade. They're very educated. They're going to do it the safest way possible,
Mm.
and they've got an end goal. Like, they're trying to get on stage to win an Olympia or whatever, something like that, and they know they've got potential. If it's somebody that just wants to look good on the beach, they train awful. They don't know how to like track their food. They don't take it seriously. They just want a shortcut. To me, like, this sounds harsh, but I just see them as a loser. Like, just don't stop looking for the easy way. When people say, "What's the easiest way to build muscle?" Well, why does it have to be easy? Just do the stuff right and do it consistently over a long time. Like I said, I don't think there's many people that should use gear, but like I said, I need to point this out that I don't care who goes on PEDs. Personally, like, what's that saying where you can choose your own poison? Like, sunbeds aren't good for people, smoking's not good for people, drugs aren't good for people. But if it's not impacting my life, I don't care too much what other people do. But if someone's to ask me a bit of advice as like a PT, a coach,
Hmm.
I would be very honest and saying, like, for most people, you shouldn't do it. But it's
Yeah.
up to you. That's what I'd say.
I think the issue is that the environment is so strong towards doing this on social media that like some people are not conscious enough yet to have the to take a step back and say, yeah, it's really not good for me. And I'm talking about the people who are like 17, 16 years old and feel bad for the reasons we talked about earlier, like girls, whatever. It can be external factors that make them trigger, and they're willing to jump on the thing, and they might be biased into lying to themselves about the consequences by only reading things that say it's pretty safe, and
Mm,
they just do it. But that's fine if you do this with something that is not harmful. If you do
mm,
this with something like PDs, it's like you actually can't even allow yourself to make a mistake there and to lie to yourself, because these things are going to kill you, and it's the rush
yeah,
of that game. You don't know before you take them how you're going to
yeah,
them, and
yeah,
one out of 100 people will resist to these drugs for 20 or 30 years. And the Olympia people, in my opinion, all that you see after 10 years aren't particularly the one maybe that the best genetics for building muscle or anything like that. They're the best genetics to be able to take so much gear for like 20 years. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Like,
actually,
there's, there's
completely
so
that.
much you can respond to with training, and there's also like how much you can respond to a gear. Like you see some people that take gear and just don't really change that much. Obviously, there is a change, but you
Yeah,
see some people that go on it and they change pretty quickly,
yeah,
and they're able to abuse it for a long time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's I mean, that's really subjective to like the person. And so like, there's all these lies about like the blood work, you can take it safely, etc. But the truth is,
Mm.
if you're someone who has like hidden diseases already inside you that are just like waiting to develop, and then you put something inside your body that is going to develop them, you're fucked
Mm.
for like 2 months.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. To be honest, the gym I do personal training at, the majority of people in the gym that actually train. I'm not talking about people that just jump on the treadmill. I mean the people that actually go into the weights room and train.
Yeah.
I'd say, I'm not even exaggerating, I'd say at least 90% of them are taking gear. That many.
And 90% is like so huge. That's fucking crazy. But I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It comes in France as well. But yeah, that's just mental, man. There is an epidemic.
Yeah, well, obviously in commercial gyms, if you go to like your leisure center gyms and your pure gyms, and I don't know what they're called in France, but the commercial gyms, there's going to be less people on it. Maybe I don't know, 20%. I don't know how many. But when you go to like a gym that's more orientated around bodybuilding, I'm
Yeah,
not joking. Like 9 out of 10 people there are going to be using gear or have done before.
that's crazy, right?
That's another thing that actually, when you say why do you stay natural, I think it's so cool being in the gym as a natural, thinking that I have more tissue than these people. I'm stronger than all these people that are taking tests, trend, you name it, all sorts.
Hmm.
So like, there's that. It's almost like having like a superpower, not having to take stuff and being kind of more advanced. And I think you almost get more respect as well. Like, if you see someone that's strong on gear, I don't know about you, if they're benching 108 kilo, 10 reps, that's not as impressive to me as someone's natural doing 140 reps.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, gear helps a lot. People when I again, uh, tell us that it's not that much, but it helps so much. And I
Yeah.
like the guys like at least. Well, I don't like the fact, for example, Larry Wolf will still like promote like peptides and this kind of stuff. I think it's ridiculous, but
Yeah.
he will say that PDs help massively, and I pretty like people that at least would take PDs that it helps massively.
Hmm.
Uh, but that can be a bad influence as well because people will be like, oh, it helps so much, I'm gonna take them. So like any influencer that is on gear, usually like I've never really seen like anything that they say can be very dangerous for their audience. Like that's crazy. But yeah, as you said, being natural, you, it's incredible because we haven't discovered how much really you can push as natural. There's so little naturals that are visible in the industry right now that it's incredible that you can go on this journey and say, I'm going to push my body as far as possible with my natural abilities.
Mm.
And even if you're up on gear for like 1 month, then you can never really be natural. So like you'll never be
You're
able
not.
to
Yeah.
discover, yeah, you'll never be able to discover what your true natural potential was. So we have something very rare at natural is that you can
Mm.
actually push your natural abilities as much as you can and see what it's actually about. And that makes it very exciting.
Definitely. Like it's more of a niche thing. It's
Yeah.
more of the norm now that people have been training for 5 years. Most people will resort to PEDs. So being the small percentage of people that stays naturally, I think it's cool. I think there's a lot you can achieve, which people don't realize.
Yeah, and I think there are advanced techniques in the end that naturals can do that I started implementing, but then there was COVID and a lot of personal life stuff that made me pretty much having to stop for a while. But I was starting to implement, type of like uh, nuclear overload. Like, I mean, I was doing a lot of like at the end of the session, 100 rep stuff, like really trying to, I don't know how to explain it, but to it's like being on steroids without being on steroids. You do it naturally through training. So you like
Hmm.
really drive all the time the blood in the muscle and you do it very, very frequently. And that doesn't tire you enough that it is going to impact your recovery, but it's still going to, drive the blood into the muscle that you want to make more responsive. So for example, if you have a weakness, like, I don't know, the rear delts, and you want to develop them more, then I'll try to do very high rep stuff on them to feel them more and have them more responsive, so that it helps me when I do them with the heavier sets. But when I do, for example, 100 reps on a muscle, I'm not going to really tire myself. I'm just driving blood inside and really trying to make it responsive. And I think you can actually adapt this at some point to like every muscle. And if you're very frequent with this, you can actually like make yourself as a natural even more big, and kind of like, it's like a way of like going around like the plateaus and the natural limits. But that's still like kind of like a theory, but it kind of goes like closely to like nuclear overload, you know, type of like so it's still to try out, but I do believe that I can make myself bigger as long as I do this method. As long as I use it, I can look bigger for the time I do this. And maybe when I stop, you know, I might lose a bit of size. But I think that that could be a technique that it's like, I want to call it like the steroid, the natural steroid, you know, way of like pumping yourself up. Like, I think I'll make a video where like I have all my thoughts explained, because it's hard to explain like this. I haven't put my thought out, but
yeah, I think from what you're saying, like ultimately, like if you're trying to feel a muscle more, like doing high rep sets, that's often something I do with clients actually. If you can actually feel the muscle working, if you can get stronger whilst feeling it, you're going to add more tissue. So it's a technique that I use for clients doing a high rep set, working higher rep ranges so they can learn to be accurate. And then when they're under heavier load, the tension is going to go to the area we're targeting. So it's a similar thing. Like, you're just trying to get that mind muscle connection better.
Yeah, and the fact that you're driving blood all the time in the muscle without tying yourself, I don't know, I feel like you can, if you do it very consistently, like 3-4 times a week, but you have to be advanced and like know that it's not going to really impact your true sessions. But you're still driving the blood inside. Maybe you might be able to make the muscle more responsive, and that can work for like weak muscles where, you know, you struggle to grow them because you're always driving blood inside, and they become more responsive, etc. But I also believe that applying this to like all the muscles, like if you can do it, I don't know, you could get to a next level naturally, but you would have to do it all the time. And when you stop doing this method, you would then maybe lose. So, but that's something I need to write down and make a video about. It's too complicated.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like maybe you kind of like feel what I'm saying. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I understand what you're saying completely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we answered the question. What would you say to people who are thinking of using gear? Well, I mean, it's just not worth it. And like, just looking at the reality of things, not lying to yourself, work on, you know, to work on oneself before on the things that don't go wrong, and not try to fill the gap with drugs. I think you would agree with that.
Also, as well, like, I feel like I could be better as a natural than on PEDs.
Yeah,
you know,
essentially, yeah.
I could stand out more as a natural than, as soon as I jump on gear, I'm then being compared to the big boys, which I don't have the genetics in terms of bone structure, the amount of muscle I can gain anyway. And then as soon as you throw PEDs into it, I might not even respond that well to that. I don't know.
Imagine you take them for 2 months and the only thing you gain is like fucking up your liver. Then you won't even be able to be good naturally, or like if your testosterone is not good at all, like you won't even be able to be good naturally, and you won't even be able to be good on gear.
Yeah, it'd be literally the worst decision. It'd be stupid.
Yeah.
The only thing it'd do, I might add a bit more tissue and people might say I look a bit bigger, but I literally could not care what people think. Literally no point. So yeah, to me personally, it makes absolutely zero sense.
Yeah, that's like very irrational, and crazily enough, the whole industry is based on like irrational fundamentals. If you look at it, like
and also, yeah, and also my niche with kind of coaching PT, like it's natural training, like natural bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So I kind of get clients that are trained naturally. Yeah, like I might not attract people that they're going to the gym that are using PEDs. They'll go to somebody else that's using PEDs, but I don't really care. I think it's good to have a niche. And to be honest, that's another thing that winds me up about PEDs is that you'll see PTs in the gym taking tests, taking whatever they're taking, they might be a little bit stronger than me. It might be this. They might be similar. They don't even look any better, or they might do a little bit, and they'll get more business because they might have that fuller look. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
literally a fraud. It's like a fake natty on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just a complete. It's to me like I'm not saying on a consultation with a new client you don't have to say it. By the way, I'm a gear, but I just feel like to me it's a bit like a fraud.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a fraud. It is a fraud, but these people on the long term, in my opinion, I mean, they don't last in a sense. Like I guess most people who take gear, like honestly, after 3 years, like the only one that lasts 10 years, we see them on like social media, etc. But at some point, they'll lose their muscle mass, and then the clients won't go for them anymore. And maybe they look bigger, but like they look fucking weird, man. Like they look like their face is like red and about to pop up. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah.
and like yeah, it's a fraud in a sense, but I, I know you're doing well besides the fraud. So that what
Mm.
matters in the end. And but it is a fraud in a sense. And unfortunately, all the PTs nowadays, they're like 20 years old, etc. Yeah, they take gear and they could actually last on it for like 5 or 6 years, and so they could steal the business pretty much. But I don't know. At the end of the day, they're gonna if the guy is just on gear and doesn't know what he does, the people
Oh,
in 3 months with him and be like, I don't get any results. So they'll
yeah.
at the end, some might get away with it, but I think most of them get caught up with the bullshit that they've been trying to sell, you know?
No, I literally see it all the time where you watch a PT train someone and the form is literally horrific. I'm like, you are paying
I
this
think that's
guy to
more it's
let
like,
you train like that. Like it's so bad. Like eccentrics 3 times the speed of the concentric. You know, like just it's just so bad. Like you know what bad training looks like.
oh man,
It's
I've been in like, I mean, you know what's ironical is that these people, they think they train, like one day, so basically, like there's a trainer in my gym, and like each time I see him, I'm like feeling so bad for the person because he pays money.
yeah,
And
it's crazy.
the first thing they do is like a bench press, but like the guy puts too much weight for the beginner. And so instead of lowering the weight so he can do it by himself, he just puts the hand and do 4 reps.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And,
Man,
and and then this guy had the audacity to tell me one day, we were talking in front of like quite some people around, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Arthur, like you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. Like I knew why I was doing this, etc." And I was just like, in my head, I was like, this guy has no idea about training, and he just takes gear, so like that's why he's got results. But
yeah.
I was just like, but people are gonna probably believe him, at
Yeah.
face value because he's got that, steroid physique that actually doesn't look so much on steroids. Like he's got like the good genetics, kind of like you don't see like the side effects so much, and
Mm.
so it's like you don't see the
Yeah.
like this, you know.
You know, if he's coming across, when he's talking as well, confident and he looks decent because obviously the gear, like people are going to believe what he says, and it's sad. But you know, when I see it, like anyone that knows about training will kind of like speak to me sometimes, gym about training.
Yeah,
The people that don't, like, they believe something that's not true. Other people are showing them, and it's
yeah.
almost like I feel sorry for them in a way. Like, I'm literally like, you're paying this PT or coach this much an hour, this much a month, and you're training like so bad.
Yeah.
Like all you've got to do realistically is to find out if your PT or coach is training you well in the gym. Just look at a form video on YouTube, film yourself do your set, and see how different that is.
Dude,
Do you know what I mean?
you better actually looking up at Athletic Mix. it's it's terrible to say, but like you could actually get more results as a beginner looking at athletics videos rather than like going for like your on gear PT in the gym, you know.
Yeah.
But don't go
Yeah,
watch.
this is it.
I don't know what you think of athletics, but like it's not my cup of tea, you know.
I've seen like one or two of his videos, but I've never watched the whole way through. I think he's quite educated, but I can't comment too much because it's just how he presents his videos. It's not engaging enough for me. That's how I'd say it. It's just
Yeah, I
not.
mean, to put it like to you, from what I know from him, is like you will get to an intermediate level with what he does, but at some point you will stagnate. He's a very
Mm.
lean guy, but like I don't think he ever benched, 3 plates as a natural or anything like that, or even
Yeah,
like,
he's not strong.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lean guy, and so he's always shirtless. But like, I mean, if you want to be advanced, you're not gonna make it with an athletics program, you know. And I think so many people actually like him and like buy his stuff because most of the people are like, you know, people that need to lose fat, and you know, this kind of audience that will never go to like an advanced level, and so they will indeed be at a calorie deficit by following his program, and because they're doing some weights, they'll put on muscle. And these are the people that like are gonna train for like 8 months or 1 year, drop some fat and be happy with it. And so they're like,
Mm.
oh, this guy is so sick. But like, if you actually want to be like an advanced natural bodybuilder, you're like, this guy doesn't know how to
Yeah, yeah.
that level.
He's from what I see, he's not that strong. He's just very lean. Like, and to be honest, I think he's probably taken TRT or something to sustain that kind of level of body fat anyway.
Yeah.
But
Or
that's
maybe
my
I
suspicion.
don't know. I wouldn't be able to like actually say. I just don't know because I think
Yeah.
he's achievable naturally, and that I don't know if he's been training for 20 years. Like, yeah, perhaps he could have this physique without taking anything.
Yeah,
Or
it's not the level of musculature that makes me think he's on gear. It's how lean he is. Like,
yeah.
because I've been lean before and now it feels. I know obviously everyone's set point is different, but he's not exactly a young guy. He ain't like in his mid 40s or something.
Mhm.
Your test is decreasing at that point. Like personally, I think I might be wrong. I don't care either way, but it's a bit suspicious. But he's not strong. Like I remember like him getting found out about the fake weights, doing like four plates on a deadlift. Like
Yeah.
I'm not being funny. I'm not like any genetic freak or anything, but I remember like the first time I did a deadlift, I could deadlift 140. Like within a few months, I could do 180.
Uh-huh.
Like 180 kilo deadlift, like having to use fake weights as like an advanced trainer.
Mm.
Like I think it's not strong. Like
Yeah.
obviously
Maybe
this is
you're right.
relative. I'm not.
Maybe it takes 30. I don't think it does personally,
Mm,
but I mean, if you lied for the fake weights, you might as well lie for that.
yeah, yeah. But what I mean is like the point I'm getting at is like his physique in terms of condition and obviously advanced. He's shredded, but
Mhm.
like his muscle he has, his strength isn't advanced.
No, but you
He,
can't progress that much if you stay lean like that all year round
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Like there's a
So
trade off.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah,
So we're gonna try maybe to finish this in like 15 minutes.
yeah.
Uh, I was gonna say, so yeah, you never really suffered from any sort of like bigorexia or stuff like that. You never
No,
suffered from like the social media of these days. What's like your relationship with like social media? Because maybe you didn't suffer with it, but you can see as a personal trainer and everyone that you meet how that impacts a lot of young people.
yeah. I think just in general, a lot of people are just quite insecure. Um, it's not even about just their physique, but just everything. Like people are just so worried about stuff. And I've
Mm.
just found as I've got older, by no means am I old, I'm 29, but like you kind of learn to care less about stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And um, yeah, it's never really affected me. Like if anything, like I don't feel insecure when I see people on PEDs because I just think it's a different sport. Like natural bodybuilding. It doesn't make me compare myself to them. And then when
Mhm.
it comes to actual natural bodybuilders, I'm like, if anything, it just motivates me. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself. I
Yeah.
don't look in the mirror and think I need to be bigger. I'd be like, oh, I'd like to be a bit bigger, but it doesn't never bothers me mentally.
Mm.
And I know a lot of people do. It does bother them. Like they it plays on their mind a little bit, and you might even feel a bit sad. I don't know. I know you spoke
Mm.
about bigorexia and it affected you, but um,
Yeah. That's
personally, I've never had anything like that.
yeah. I think that's the trickiest. The trickiest is when you're like 16, 17, that you're going through hard times, that you don't really know yourself well, and
Mm,
because the environment is so bad, the fitness industry, how it's ruled by the IFBB, etc. Like they don't do a good job. Simply, like they let all these things possible because of gear, etc. Then it's like a mix. Someone feeling bad that is young, that doesn't have the step back and the conscience to actually make like a real conscious like decision, and the solution that is easy that they see and the comparison on social media, and they marry the two. You marry the two, and the guy is on gear at 16 years old. The SARMs that we see online that are
yeah,
portrayed as a supplement. I mean, you can't even blame these young guys that take SARMs because sometimes SARMs are like literally sold as like a supplement, like creating. You
mm,
know what I mean? So like they don't even have like if they don't dig a bit more, that they just have their friends that they meet at the gym. that tell them, oh, I'm on SARMs and like I'm on this thing and like that works so well, I don't have any side effects. They're just gonna take it. Like there is not enough prevention in the fitness industry to actually counterbalance the bad influence. And I can't blame someone who doesn't have the ability to take a step back because he feels bad about himself. He's going through hard times in his life. He's like 17 years old, having issues with like external factors. If you present him something like as a supplement with no side effects, like that is like obviously it has side effects, but like presented as no side effects, he'll take it and it's fucked. And that's exactly what SARMs are. And today I'm literally baffled, man. Like it's so sad. When you go online, I swear you can. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that, but like you go online and you could buy anything you want on any website, and it's not even the websites are not even banned by any authority. It's like as easy as Amazon. And so I'm saying this, as we said in this fucking video, like don't fucking buy any gear, like it's gonna destroy you. But that's how the fitness industry today is. It's very scary, and some people, the influence is so strong towards that some people can't even take the step back. They might be part of the fraud, and even smart people, etc. They just didn't have this step back and this opportunity to look at it and say, oh, actually, it's not good for me. The information is screwed from every corner, angle.
Yeah. I think it is sad when you get someone that's young, a bit naive, that will end up could mess himself up pretty bad by just taking a SARM or whatever it is, and that does make me feel a bit uneasy. Like, but at the same time, I do think maybe because I started later that I kind of had a bit more sense. Like if somebody told me to take something, I wouldn't just take it because I've got a brain. I would research what is this before just putting something in my mouth. So I feel like a lot of people, like there's enough information out there. Like there's some decent creators as well on YouTube that kind of steers people away from it. I think there's enough information to tell people it's not worth doing.
Perhaps if you cross the fact that some people are like young, maybe they're just not, like some of them could actually obviously not be stupid at all. They're just like young. They don't have the ability to take a step back. They feel very bad about themselves. And in a case where their friend takes something and they say, no, it's just a supplement because the friend, for example, and misinformed, then the friend that might believe his friend, word of mouth will take the thing, even though he's not a stupid guy. So, but I think that's true in general. Like if you've got a brain, I guess you're not going to take that, but some people, even with a brain, with the influence that is so strong to them, might still fall into it despite them. Like, but maybe I'm wrong. But I still think the influence is so strong today that even people that have a nice brain for a start, but like they are too young.
Just a bit naive. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think younger people typically, not just younger people, but I'd imagine like when you're younger, like I couldn't imagine starting to do when I was 16, but I'd like to think I wouldn't touch anything. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't. I've never done like any kind of drugs in my life. I've never smoked or anything, so I know I wouldn't have. But I'd imagine that some people might have fell in that trap just because they're young, they're naive, they just do, cocaine and whatever kind of recreational drugs on the weekend. So if they're willing to do that, they're going to take a drug that's going to make them look better. So I think there's only so much prevention you can do. I feel like there's enough resources like on the internet to keep away from it.
You're probably right. I might be a bit too extreme in like thinking that you can prevent even more. Like it's true to an extent that people that were gonna do it are gonna kind of do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's also true, I guess. I think as naturals, the best thing we can do is obviously to prevent for these people that might be naive and they wouldn't take it, but they need to be shown up what naturals really can do first to motivate them, pursuing the natural route, and as well obviously just tell them straight away that it's dangerous, etc. Obviously we can still have like a good influence, and then when they decide to stay natural, we have also the great advice for them to carry on and actually build a great physique naturally.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you're just about setting a good example. But the problem is it's hard to find good naturals really on social media platforms unless you kind of know of a few people. Once you know a few people, you find other people. But at the end of the day, the top physiques rise to the top of the algorithms. That's what gets shown everyone's feed. So that's half the problem as well.
Well, I think it's good that I could mention probably a few people. And I follow Natural Hypertrophy, if you know him.
Yeah, he's good.
I follow Joe Frederick Schofield. Um, to me, they're the most relatable for me. But there are other. There is Alex Leonidas, Alpha Destiny.
Yeah, he's really good. He knows his stuff.
Yeah. So just to mention a few, obviously, that's for the few people that will follow me,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
to obviously follow them as well, because it's important to keep the word, and to tell who to watch in the fitness industry.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
so we're gonna go quickly over the fun questions.